Thank you for subscribing to my Patreon, and some of the stuff you're going to see an exclusive video for members is pop culture along the same time that we're following football. Now, in 1975, a lot was going on. I could get into a ton of stuff for each video, so I've broken it down into categories, and today we're going to be looking at November 2nd, 1975, New York Times bestseller list for books. Let me know if you've read any of these, and of these, there's two lists, fiction and nonfiction. Of these lists, which book do you think I should read? Being somebody that was born in 1979, so I'm a little bit behind this. If I have read any of these, I will tell you about it. Fiction, coming in at number 10, The Greek Treasure by Irving Stone. Faithful, if sluggish, novel about Heinrich Schliemann, discoverer of Troy. Now, before I go on, I want to tell you that this comes from Hawes.com, Hawes, and I don't know if, faithful, if sluggish novel, if it's his own opinion, or their own opinion, whoever runs the website. I don't know anything about the book. I have not read it, as have any of you. The Eagle Has Landed is number 9 by Jack Higgins. Mixed fact and fiction about 1943 plot to kidnap Winston Churchill. That actually does sound interesting. I've not read it. At number 8, The Great Train Robbery by Michael Crichton. Of course, Michael Crichton, the creator, author of Jurassic Park. Here, ingenious caper carried out in an authentic Victorian milieu. Number 7, The Money Changers by Arthur Haley. The Airport, etc. sequel treatment, this time applied to banking. So, The Airport, if you've seen that movie or read the book, this is sort of a sequel to it. Number 6, Shogun by James Clavell. Sprawling tale of intrigue and bloodshed in 17th century Japan. At number 5, Circus by Alistair MacLean. Another thriller in the MacLean model. I'm not familiar with Alistair MacLean as an author, so I'm not sure what model that is. Number 4, Humboldt's Gift by Saul Bellew. Bellew on money, art, power, and ideas in America. Of course, this being 50 years ago, I'm sure a lot has changed. At number 3, Looking for Mr. Goodbar. Is that the candy bar we're looking for? A stunning psychological study of a woman's passive complicity in her own death. At number 2, Curtain by Agatha Christie. Can this be the end of Hercule Poirot? So it's another in the long line of Hercule Poirot novels. He's a detective. I have read some of the stuff. Curtain is not one of them. And the number 1 bestseller for fiction on November 2nd, 1975, Ragtime by E.L. Doctorow, a syncopated, gated evocation of turn-of-the-century America. It is in its... it remains at number 1. It was number 1 at the end of October and remains such going into November 2nd. For nonfiction, we start at number 10, Money by John Kenneth Galbraith. Galbraith demystifies money, but not with complete objectivity. So it's an opinion-based writing. Nonfiction, of course, if you're unfamiliar, is the truth, or at least it's based on, or it is set in real, or it is real. It happened. Number 9, The Great Railway Bazaar by Paul Theroux. Fascinating observations along Asian railways and byways. At number 8, The Save of Your Life Diet by David Rubin, MD. Eat more long fiber foods. I'm sure this book nowadays would be long panned. Obviously, science and opinion on diets and everything changes throughout time. At number 7, Breach of Faith by Theodore H. White. The Unraveling of the President, post-1972. So we're looking at what's gone on in the last 3 years from when Nixon resigned to Gerald Ford's presidency as is going in 1975. At number 6, Power by Michael Korda, a guidebook for the upwardly mobile with an immoral message. At number 5, Bring on the Empty Horses by David Niven, Superior Hollywood Anecdotiana. Interesting word. At number 4, Total Fitness by Lawrence E. Morehouse and Leonard Gross. 12 hours to a better body is the claim. 12 hours. At number 3, TM, Discovering Inner Energy and Overcoming Stress by Harold H. Bloomfield, Michael Peter Kane, and Dennis T. Jaffe. The Theory and Practice of Transcendental Meditation. Interesting. And number 12, Winning Through Intimidation by Robert J. Ringer, How to Close the Big Deal. So before Donald Trump's The Art of the Deal, Robert J. Ringer's How to Close the Big Deal, Winning Through Intimidation. And number 1, bestseller for November 2nd, 1975, nonfiction, Sylvia Porter's Money Book by Sylvia Porter, Useful Home Financial Adventure. Now I'm going to be honest with you, nothing on that bestseller list for nonfiction sounds like I'd want to read it. The closest I could possibly think of is probably Breach of Faith, but one wonders how, how biased it is. Is it written by the left, by the right? Obviously, the two sides are much more separated today, but how were they in 1975 following the first real big presidential scandal and the invention of the suffix "gate" being for controversies, especially involving politics. Back to the fiction list before we sign off real quick. It's hard to say. The Hercule Poirot, obviously, I've liked some of the stuff I've read there. Maybe The Eagle Has Landed. That might be one I might want to look at. Not real sure about the others. 1975, November, not a great time. I think I might look into The Eagle Has Landed, see about purchasing that book on eBay or Amazon. So if you've read any of these books, let me know. And again, thank you for subscribing and joining my Patreon, and let me know what you'd like to hear about, especially from 1975.